Start recording. So, since everyone is used to version control, I'll just talk a little bit about it and then we proceed. Now, what we are going to talk about is version control. And take note, this is not, let's say you are learning website development or embedded systems or data science or machine learning or any other thing. This is not actually what you are learning, right? If you are learning embedded systems, we're not talking about embedded systems in this class. If you are learning web, we're not talking about web in this class, but we are talking about what you need to know the same time as you know what you are doing. At this, I used to tell people that if you are learning tech or you are learning anything coding, you have to start learning version control the same day you start learning that program language. So if you start learning HTML today, you have to start learning version control too today, because you can't do anything virtually in tech without knowing version control. I thought I'd be able to run through the whole thing in a single class, but then I think I might not be able to. I might just split this class into two, and maybe some other time in the future we talk about the other part. So now, what is the problem? What is version control? Let's make a simple scenario now. And one thing before I make that scenario, one thing about tech is that you might not really appreciate it. You might not really appreciate some things unless you start working in large scale. Let's, for example, you are just writing your own line of code. Let's say 10 lines of code, 20, 100, 200. You might not really appreciate some things. But if you're working in, let's say, millions, thousands of lines of code, there's need for you to now take note of things. If you make a single mistake, you looking for where that mistake is another problem on its own. So if you're building a software, and I set an example today during my talk at DevFest. If you're building a software, let's say you're building a mobile app or a website, and then you deploy that website, people are now using that website. So people are now complaining that, okay, let's say people are not even complaining. Let's say you want to, we used to have different versions of softwares, even the one we used to use on our phone. You see, WhatsApp update is now available, or VLC is now available, like the update is now available. We used to have updates. So as a developer, no matter what you are doing, maybe data science, embedded systems, there's need for you to constantly monitor your code and then update it. So let's say you are deploy something, people are already using that particular mobile app. You now say, oh, let me add another update to this mobile app. Maybe the color that was there formerly is not good. You want to put another color. So now start working on. Don't forget, people are already using the previous one that you made. So you now start using. You started developing to add the color. So once you are done, you tested it on your laptop, it's working. Then you now deploy it again. So what is update basically is going to override the former one, because you are expecting your user to update to the new. That's the latest version now. And once they update, it will like clear the former one on their laptop or on their phone, and then they will have the latest version. So let's say immediately they now update the mobile app, things now like go wrong. Though the color has changed, but then they used to type on the mobile app before, typing is not working. They used to make call, the call is not working again. So means that there's a problem in the new updates. What's now happening? They begin to complain that this thing is wrong, the data science workload is not working again, the ML algorithm is not working again. So you might start working on it. Oh, let me try to maybe adjust the problem or correct the mistake. If it's just like 2 lines of code you change for you to add that color change, you can still go back to that 2 lines of code and then make the edit. But what if you're working in a case whereby you change thousands of lines of code for that new update? As I mentioned, if you are just working in small scale, you might not really see much effect or much need. But what if you change a million lines of code before you're able to make that update? Are you going to know? And most times, once you have closed your editor, you can't do Control Z. Control Z is undo. Maybe I want to undo what I've done before to cause that problem. After you close the editor, you can't do undo again. Let's say it's even like up to a month before the app starts misbehaving. You can't even do Control Z again. So how are you going to go back to the previous version now? Because the immediate thing is that there's a version that was already working, and then you created another version, and that version is no more working. And because you change 1 million lines of code, you might not really trace the problem. So the best thing is for you to like go back to the previous version and then give that back to your user, so that while you're working on the new updates, they still have something they're using. Because sometimes if you're unable to use your program for let's say 2 days, 3 days, you start looking for alternative. So how do you easily now go back to the previous version? So that is what version control is. Though it can do more than this, let's just start now from this particular part. So why do we need version control? Like, why do we need version control system? That's the problem now. Why do you need version control system? Because we want to be able to track our code, and then you can still maybe go back to the previous one you are writing, or go to the one we wrote last year, or do some other things. So that's basically the beginning part. But version control can do more than that. And the first one I like is that we can use version control to maintain group projects. Let's say you are working on your own, you are just building your own website. Yeah, after you are done, you can deploy it. But what if you are working in a company, and then there are, let's say, 100 of people building the same website with you? You are working on the home page, somebody is working on the login page, somebody is working on the footer, somebody is working on the header, and the likes. Let people are working on the code base. So when it's time for you to deploy, you have to deploy the single entity. So how do you now merge all those things together? So that is where a version control system come in. So as I said, if you don't know version control system, you can't do anything, almost anything in tech. And then towards the end of this class, I'll talk about open source contribution, and then where we can actually see some open source projects. You can't do anything if you don't know version control, because if you're working on a project, you're working in a company, you are not the only one building the project. Other people are building the project. Then how do you now merge your own line with their own lines of code? So that is where version control system come in. How do you work in a company? How do you work in a group? Two people, let's say you have something you are building, you are the only one building it. Having three or more people building the same thing, you need version control system to be able to make that thing achievable. So in the olden days, they used to send their code. Let's say one thing you can think of is that, okay, once I'm done working on my own part, I'll just send it to you via email, or send it to you via sender or something, and then you add it to the code base. That's what used to happen in the olden days. But then all those things no longer work. If you're working 100,000 of lines of code, you can't just be sending codes via flash drive or something. Another problem that we used to have before version control is it's difficult to roll back. So that's the scenario I highlighted in the beginning part. That if you're working on something and then things go south, it might not be easy for you to go back. And that's the problem that version control system is solving. So another problem that we are going to be solving with version control is that sometimes it is almost impossible to maintain code if the number of people working on the project is large. So if you have a number of people working on a project, even if it's your own group project, because we're going to have a lot of projects and there might be grouped projects, if it's more than one person working on a project, it might be difficult for them to work on the same project. Because let's say, for example, I'm to work on, all these things are connected. If you're working on the website, they are all connected. Let's say I'm working on the login page and another person is working on the home page, just the home page. Let's say on the home page, I put login, something like that, before you can log in. And the person working on the login page thought I put sign up, something like that. If you want to merge our code, there's going to be conflict. It's only if we merge, because you have I have login as the name, another person thought it's going to be sign up. All those problems can easily arise without version control. But with version control, we're able to solve all this problem, and then things will become very easy. This might involve writing some command also, but you have to start learning this the same day you start learning programming language. I'll send you another resources that will help. But what we are doing is very important. Probably you might not even touch everything in the two classes that we are going to have. But know that you have to learn this. Like, it's very important. You can't do anything without knowing version control. Another thing is that if you want to test our software, we use version control for that. So now, and as I mentioned, the solution to all these problems is version control system. What is it? What the version control system? Point one, a method of recalling versions of a code base. That's the first thing. How do we recall versions of a code base? It's like, when I was taking this class for the first time, I used to use bank as a scenario. Let's say you have a file, let's say just an A4, let's say an handout. Yes, you have an handout, and then I think I've just explained this later on when we come into patches. Let's keep that example. I'm going to say that story, but let's keep that for now. Another thing is keeping a record of changes. Another thing we use version control system to do is to keep a record of change. In version control system, you don't necessarily need to be a programmer before you can use it. Let's say you are working on a doc that's a Microsoft Word. You can also use version control system on Microsoft Word, and you don't want anybody to touch your file. You don't even want anybody to touch it at all. You can use version control system to track it. So anytime somebody change your code at all, you always know that somebody has changed this code. It makes things very flexible and very easy. Let's say you are working on a code base now, you don't want anybody to touch it. you are sharing your laptop with your brother or with your sister, and then they mistakenly touch your file. Let's say you're working on your final year project, and then they touch the file. You might not know that they have. Let's say you are in chapter 3, and your brother was just playing around and deleted some things in chapter 1. If you enable version control for that particular software, for that particular file, you're able to know that something has changed, and then this is where what change is, and you can easily go back to the previous version. Another thing is who did what and when in the system. So this is another thing, that if you're working on a project with some guys, you can still know who made the particular change and what change that person make, in case it's going to affect your own change. And lastly, you can save yourself when things inevitably go wrong. So if what you're working on go haywire or it goes out, you can easily roll back using version control system. So here I have like a simple illustration here, this particular picture. You see checkout, we have a particular file here, and then you have version 3, version 2, version 1. So though let's say you are currently working on version 3, but you still have version 1 and version 2. So you can easily go back to any of those versions. It's like once you start doing the demo now, you understand what some of these things means. So version control system, I don't want to bore us with a lot of theories. I want us to just go back to the demo. Yeah. On the same project. So that basically two types of version control system. You have the centralized and then distributed. Centralized is if you're working in a company now, there's something this called system lab, like company laptop. Yes, company laptop. I was with one of my brother in Abuja once upon a time, and they used to give them a laptop from their work. On that laptop, it has a lot of control, since it doesn't belong to the person can't do a lot of things. You have to go to the administrator before you can do it. In that kind of case, if you go to the office, the source code, let's say you are building a website or you are building a mobile app or a machine learning or data science something, the code is not actually on your laptop. The code is on, let's say, let me use an hard disk. Yes, I think it's a Vasha, but then let me use a hard disk. So the code is just on a hard disk, and then once you come to the office, everybody can plug the laptop to that hard disk. Yes, just take that as an example. When I come to the office, I can plug my laptop to the hard disk, and then I will have access to the code inside the hard disk. That's like a centralized version control system, that it's on a central server, and then it's only the admin that used to monitor it. So once I'm done, I'll just save my own code inside the hard disk, and then once everybody is done writing code for that day, the admin, that's let's say the manager, you come and check everybody's code and then add it to the central code. So that's like a centralized VCS, version control system. The code you're working on is in a single place. Once you come in a day to work on that particular code, you just connect your laptop to that hard disk, you make your change, and then you go. Somebody will come and then check whether what you did is correct or not and add it to the central code. The other one is distributed version control system. So this is what is commonly used. Mean that I have the code on my laptop. Everybody in the office has the code in their laptop. So we are all working on the code, and then once we are done, we merge, we push, we pull, we do all those things. We talk about them later on. Centralized is what? The code is just in a single place. You come, you make your own change, and then you go. Distributed is if everybody has the code. I have the code, you have the code, we all have the code. I'm making my own changes while you're also making your own change. So later on, at the end of the day, you just come and merge the whole thing together. I've explained all this. A single authoritative data source, that's the repository. Checkout and check-ins are done with reference to the central repository. So, and this is like centralized. You have a repository, that's the central server, and then you have, let's say this workstation, I have PC1, PC2, PC3. You see everybody that comes, you have to connect to that central repository and then make change to it. So distributed is no single repository is authoritative. Everybody has the code on the laptop, and data can be checked in and checked out from any repository. So this is like an example of a distributed version control system. We have the central server. The central is still there, but then if you want to start working, you have to download the whole code to your own laptop. This is called this push and pull. We talk about all those ones too later, and we see a demo on it. So everybody can get the code on the laptop, and then they can start working on it. Once they are done, they all merge back to the central. This one at the top. Okay, let me open. It's a pointer. And this is here we have the central where the main code of the company is. Let's say you are working in Microsoft now, and this is This is where they are saving the code, the Microsoft Office code. Let's say Microsoft Word. We are working on Microsoft Word. That's the team I'm on Microsoft Word team. If I come to work, let's say I'm in the office now. Okay, let's say I started working today. What I will do is that I'll just go to this central code base where I have the code to Microsoft Word, and then I'll download everything. They call it pool. You see, this arrow coming to my own laptop. This is like PC1, my own laptop. I will now pull it to my own laptop. Mean that I have everything. Everything I have here, I still have it on my own laptop. My other guy too that got employed last week will also come and then collect everything on his own laptop too. He also has everything. And then the last guy too will come and then push everything to you. So we all have the same code on our own laptop. Then I'll start working. Once I'm done working, and I'll now push it back to the big guy. Once this guy to start working, and then once it's done working, you now send it back. They used to call it push. You send it back to the central repository. And once this guy too stops working, he will send it back to the central repository. So somebody will come, like let's say our boss will now come and check what this guy is it correct? Is it correct? Is it correct? You do some things and then merge it to this code. So once we come back tomorrow again, since we are working today, we are all done working today, and then we push our code to the central repo. Once we come tomorrow, the first thing we do is to still copy everything that everybody did yesterday and then copy it to my own laptop too, so that we start working. So I'm updated. What this guy did yesterday, I now have it on my own laptop too. What I did, this guy also has it on his own laptop too, and then we can also start working today. And then once we are done, we send it back to the central repository, and then the boss will come and then join them together. And tomorrow, the same thing continue, the same cycle continue. So an example of a distributed VS is Git and Mercurial. So now that's basically version control. We have talked about what version control is, what you can use it for. If you are working on a company, you are going to need version control to track what you are doing, to monitor your code, make sure you are getting the updates from other team members so that you are updated in case you are making change. You are in line, and then you are updated to what the other person is doing. So how do they do this? What makes it to be possible? One of the things that make this possible is, let's call it an engine called Git. We call it a software or something, yeah, called Git. We talk about GitHub later on, but let's just go down, called Git. So all these things that I just mentioned, all these like distributed version control system, centralized version control system, one thing that we can use to achieve this is Git. So as a developer, the day you start learning HTML or Python or anything, you have to start learning Git that day. So Git allows you to work with multiple people. You can track whatever you are doing. Everything that we said version control system is used for. Let me just scroll back. So all these things that version control system is used for, you can use Git to do it. And Git is just like a software that you download on your own computer, and then you learn it just like you are learning HTML or Python. You learn how to use Git. It has its own command, just like command line or PowerShell or so. It has its own command. You might not write much of it. It's not like you'll be writing code to make all those things achievable sometimes. Just like writing command, some basic line of command, and then all those things will be happening. We'll go into some demo today and see how that works. So that is basically what we're going to be using for version control. Git. Don't forget, it's not only limited to this class. Once you are done, you can still. I will also send some resources that will help you, but then you have to learn Git. You can't do almost anything without learning Git when it comes to the field of software engineering. Before you can contribute to open source, you have to learn Git. We talk about open source to round off this class. Time is going. So now, what is Git? Git is just a version control system. A software that enables us to version controlled our source code or our working directory. So it is free and it is open source. It is fully distributed. It can handle small files very effectively. It can track content, not files. Data equal to snapshots. You don't need to be connected to the internet, and it has 3 stages. We talk about those 3 stages. So that's basically what Git is. Just make some searches online, or you can often check out some YouTube videos that will explain further what Git is and how you can use it better. So Git was created by Linus Torvalds in less than 2 weeks. So currently it is being maintained by Junior H. Amano. Linus Torvalds is the guy that created Linux operating system. He created it so that you can track, as I mentioned earlier, that if you're working in small scale, most times let's say you are building a website of your own, you are dealing with just, let's say, max 100,000, let's say 10,000 lines of code. if you might not even see much need that time. But if you are working on a very large code base, 10 million, 100,000 line, you can't do anything without learning Git or other related software. So Git was actually created by this guy Linus Torvalds so that he can monitor Linux. I told you he was one that wrote Linux operating system. You know how big the code base will be. So there's need for him to find a way to track what he's actually doing. So if he made a mistake today, he can still go back to what he did tomorrow. And that was one of the reasons why he created Git, so that he can control Linux operating system. So Git has 3 stages, as I mentioned: the working directory, the staging directory, and then the Git directory. That's the repository. We talk about all this and then we look at them in a demo. So it has 3 stages, basically: the working directory, the staging directory, and then the Git directory. So working directory is basically where you are working. That's like on your laptop. Staging is if you push it. When I was explaining distributed the other time, working directory is, you are a developer now working for Microsoft, and you are currently working on Microsoft PowerPoint on your own laptop. Nobody else is seeing it. You are just working on Microsoft PowerPoint on your own laptop. So once you know that what you are trying to make some changes, maybe Microsoft PowerPoint is misbehaving, then and you have been tasked to solve that problem. You have solved the problem. Everything is on your own laptop. Nobody can see it. Even I that I'm using PowerPoint, I can't see it. It's just on your own laptop. So once you are done, you now stage it, meaning that you send it to that repository. That's like a staging directory. And then your boss will come and check what this guy did. Is it actually correct? Okay, it's correct. And then they merge it to the central repo. Once they merge it to the central repo, Microsoft PowerPoint, my own laptop will tell me that, okay, an update has been made. And then it will now ask you, do you want to download updates? And that, okay, I want to download updates. So that stuff that you did on your own laptop is now reflecting on my own laptop too. So working is when you are working. Staging is when you say, okay, this thing is done. Everybody can now download it now. Once they now merge it to the central code base, it automatically updates. It will build it, update it, and then update will be available. You can say, whenever you see WhatsApp saying WhatsApp update is now available, or any app you are using, the update is now available, it has passed through this 3 stage. Somebody has worked on it on his own laptop. It has pushed it to the central repo, and then the boss has come and then merged it to the central repo. So I think I've just stopped sharing now and then move straight to the demo. We just do a little demo today, and let's say whenever we have time in the future, we continue with what we started. And what's wrong with this guy? All right. Okay, I'm coming. I'll stop sharing and I'll try to share my browser since I've been. So as I mentioned, the first thing you have to do is to download Git. Git is like a software. What we are going to download it. Let me share my. Let me just share my Chrome tab. Okay. So I'm sharing my Chrome tab now. So to get started with Git, you just simply need to go to Git. I don't know what is happening this night, but then just go to Git. There's no need for you to learn the website. Just go to Git download. Once you're in Git download, that's the first thing you see. You see this Git SCM. Git SCM. Just click on download. So once you click on download, it will show you all this Magana, Mac, Linux, Unix, Windows. If you're using Windows, just download Windows. If you're on Linux, most times Git used to come with Linux. Don't forget the guy that built Linux, the guy that did Git too. So it will be unwise for him not to put Git on Linux. And the guy is wise, he puts Git on Linux. So if you're using Linux, you might not need to download this thing. But if you're on Windows or Mac, just click on download for Windows, and then the download will start. It will take you to this part. Just click on download the latest version, and then it just show you all this something, and then you can save and then you download it. So once you've downloaded it, something happened the other time, and I made a mistake. This thing is fucking now, sure. So I'll just go to. Once you've downloaded it, is the next thing to do is just go to where it's saved. I think I have to share my own. I'm coming. Let me just. Once I go out of Chrome, I'm no longer sharing. Let me try to share my old screen. Stop sharing. I want to show everything, so let me share my own screen. Okay, yes. I think we can see everything now. Yeah. So once you are done downloading it, I have my own, where is it? Where is it? So this is this git something something something. Click on it and just walk through the installation. Please, you have to do all these things, so you have to do it on your own. Once you are done with this slide, you might not be able to follow along, but make sure you have git installed. I'm sure our instructor will be giving us tasks now that might involve group projects, and git is going to be helping us to work on that. So once you have downloaded it on your laptop, install it. There's no any need for you to do any special thing. You can just click on next. But yeah, this is not a must, but then it will save you some time. You can do it later in the future, but then it will save you some time. Once you're installing it, it's going to come to a point where it will ask you that choose the default editor by Git. Choosing the default editor used by Git. Yeah, it's going to just select use nano editor by default. That's not what comes with it. I've installed this thing already. That's why it's showing me this stuff. But it will show you another thing, but select this particular one that says use nano editor by default. Just take note, write it down. It's not a must for you. You can still use code to do it later on. But then to save you that stress, you can just select use the nano editor by default. The nano is much more easier. Like I'm telling you, it's much more easier to use than all this Vim or NeoVim. And this guy says NeoVim is the best editor. What's his name? One guy that used to do data structure and algorithm. The Prime yes, Prime. So then you just click on next. And once you are done, exit yes. So once you are done, you have already installed Git. How will you know? Once you are done, you can simply just I now have some things on my laptop. I have this git GUI, git cmd, and then git bash. So that's all. I have git bash, git cmd, and then git GUI. And I have git installed on my laptop now. Git for version control, I have it installed on my laptop. So now let's start doing some demo. Don't forget, Git is for what? Version control. You are working on a project, and then you want to track that project. So don't forget, I used to like Microsoft. So let me even use some other company. Let's say you are working in company ATB. Let's say you are working in ATB as a company now. We don't have much time again. Let me just run through. And after getting employed today, they give you the code. That's the source code of the company. Let me just say new, and then you save it on this folder, new folder. I'll call it. You'll be seeing this folder all through the demo, even later on. ATB, that's the name of the company I'm working for. Enter. So this folder is currently empty. That's all. It's empty. Yeah. So the first thing you have to do is to set up your Git. Don't forget, I have ATB, my company's folder here, which is empty. So first you have to set up your Git. How do you do that? You just install Git. So please, maybe you should write this down, or I'm not sure how to do. I can also share you the material later on. So this comes here and then open Git bash. Most of the thing you'll be doing will be in Git bash. Open Git bash. This Git bash, just open it. Once you open it, it will bring out an editor for you. A CMD, a terminal, yeah, a terminal. Don't forget you have your normal CMD on Windows or bash on Linux. So to bring up this Git bash for you. So this is like CMD. You can do anything in CMD, just like you can do in GUI too. Though there's Git GUI, but then let's forget about all those things. Let's just focus on normal Git bash. You'll be writing. I told you before that Git is not like we are writing code, separate code. It's just like we are writing some command there. So that is what Git is basically. We just be writing some command. All those things that I was mentioning is just some command inside this black thing. All those merging, coming to office, and then sending your code to the repository, somebody coming to merge it, everything will be happening inside this black stuff. And it's just like normal CMD. If you're used to CMD before, there are basic things you can do. If you want to check where are you want to check, okay, which this CMD, don't forget, this is like a terminal. It has file system and the likes. If you want to check which folder are you currently in, you can just type pwd. That is print working directory. Print working directory. It says I'm in what? /c/users/user. So that is where I am currently. I'm inside this particular folder. Don't forget, when I came to work for ATBU, where did I put my code? Inside desktop. And I want to use Git inside my folder. So, and don't forget, I've already downloaded Git. So the next thing for me to do is to go into that particular folder, Though there's one easy way you can use to do this, but then you have to still learn command prompt. That's part of tech. You have to learn how to use command prompt too. So what I need to do is to check where I am. I say, okay, pwd, and it tells me that I'm in c/user/user. I can now move to the next. I can like change, because if you come here, I don't know, I'm maybe going to basic. Some of us might have known this thing already. If you come to this C, this is local drive C, right? This is local drive C. And this is users, and this is user. So C/user/user, that's where I was the other time. I have all these things inside C/user/user. Why did I open this? So I have this, okay, inside this C/user/user, I have all these things. I'm seeing that one, that this is GUI. I'm seeing it physically, like I'm seeing all these things physically inside from my file, from my Google, what do they call this thing? File, from my file explorer. I'm seeing all the, I can go from local disk to users to user, and I'm seeing all these things. I can maybe delete, I can copy, I can do all those things. All those things that you can do, you can also do it in the command prompt too. Okay, what's happening? Okay, yeah. I'm back to my Git bash now. So all these things I'm doing now, where I am in GUI, that's my file explorer. That's the same place where I am here. Again, C/user/user. I can check what I have inside this folder. I can just type ls. ls means list directory. I don't know, please, are we seeing it? Is it clear, or I need to zoom in my screen? I'm not sure I can zoom in the screen. Do I need to zoom in like
small?
It's very small, right?
Ezekiel. Hi, God bless. Where is the kid?
You can see it now, right? I mean, is it clear enough now?
Yes, it's clear.
Yes. So if I type ls, you see I have the same thing. Everything that is showing me here, I now have it here too. I'm seeing all those things here too. 3D objects, application, contacts, cookies, and the likes. Whenever you are working, whenever you are doing this thing, people used to think you are an hacker, you know, you are typing this para stuff. Whenever you are working in this command prompt, people are going to respect you. Just open command prompt, typing pray. People say, this guy is guru. They don't know, it's nothing. So what I need to do is to go to where my company folder is. That's in desktop. I have to type cd. Cd means change directory. Please, all these things is just basic. You can also go and learn how to work with terminal. Like you can just go and learn how to work with command prompt and the likes. So cd means change directory. I'll just change directory to desktop. There are a lot of rules around this. Change directory to desktop, but then the folder must be inside where you are. I know that folder is inside where I am now, and what I want to do is inside desktop. I just type cd desktop. So it's not okay, I'm inside desktop. So I can check what is inside desktop. If I press ls again, it says I have atbu, download, all these things inside what? Desktop. So I can now what? Change. I can now go into my company folder. So that's the cd atbu. So I'm now in what? atbu, and I can say ls. Nothing is there, so it shows what? Empty. So I'm inside my company's folder now. So I want to start working now. So the first thing you have to do, maybe we should have done this before, but then it's not too late, sha. The first thing you have to do is to set up Git to recognize you, because don't forget, we said that one of the things that Git can do is that it knows who and what changed and when that change was made. So if, let's say, I'm working for ATBU now, you're also working for ATBU, everybody here is working for ATBU. If I make a change, how will Git know that it is someone that made that change? So I have to tell Git my name and my email. So that's the first thing you have to do. This one, you only need to do it once. You get, you don't need to be in this folder self. You don't need to do, you only need to do it once. Once you have done it now, we don't need to do it again. That's why you are using that same laptop. Unless you use another laptop, you don't need to do it again. So what you have to do is to do Git. Let's remember this thing. Is git config. Hold on, please. So you don't get this is like text stuff. You don't need to keep anything in your head. Whenever you forget, you just go and search for it online. So it's git config. What are we trying to do? I'm trying to tell Git my name and my Gmail in case they are looking for who made this change. And if you spoil the code base, no, like someone, if you're an IT student and then you go and clear all the debts for MTN users, you know it was you that made it. Maybe it was one IT student like that want go and do more mistake, and then all the bashi disappear. So you have to put git config global user dot name. So this is like a command you have to write first. Git config having global user dot name, and then you put your name, first name and last name. So my name is Samuel Adeshola. So this is the first thing I have to do. Run it. That's run. So Git now knows my name, and if I'm an IT student again and I clear all the bashi for everybody, it will say I'm the one that did that particular change. So another thing you have to set up is your email. Just two things: git config global user dot name Samuel Adeshola, and then git again config global user dot email, and then you can pass in your email address Adeshola Samuel 2018 at gmail.com. Once I'm done with this, I'm done with the initial setup. As I mentioned, this needs to be done just once. You don't need to do this again. Once you have done this, that's all. You don't need to do it again. And there was something we did the other time when we were installing Git. We make Nano the default editor. This is not a must. We do it that time. You can also do it here, but since we can do it there, it's not a must. But to do it here, most people will do it here. Most people will set up their Nano editor here. So you have to put global is setting up Nano. So you have to put Git. As I mentioned, I was telling you that thing before that you don't need to do it the other time when you set Nano as default editor. You don't need to do it there. You can just do it here. How to do it is just git config global code.editor. Code.editor is the editor that the Git is going to use. That's you see where all these things come into play later on. Nano is very good and sweet to use. So I have this. So three things you have to do, and you only need to do this once. Three things, and you don't need to you only need to do it once. Once you are done, I won't do this thing again. In as much as I'm using this laptop, unless my name changes or my email changes, I need to do this again. So now let's go back to ATBU. A new employee working on some source code for ATBU, and this is I'm inside ATBU folder. As you can see here, /desktop/ATBU. Again, I'm aware of time, so I'm taking note. So the first thing you have to do is to initialize the repository so that Git will know it. We downloaded Git from Chrome, we install it. Before you can use it in a particular folder, you have to tell Git that, okay, I want to start working on this folder. Please help me to track it. Help me to be like, come, like you're saying, come and help me, come and work with me, Git. So the command is git init. You have to do this for all your folders. Git init. Once I put git init now, it says initialized empty git repository in this particular guy. So that's the first thing. Git init. So let me just do some few things now. This is ATBU's folder. Let's have to create. Let's say all these ones came with the laptop. It came with the folder or whatever. So I want to create a new test document. I'll call this student. These are the files that came with when I got employed in ATBU. It has a file called students, and then it has another file. When they give me the source code of ATBU, it has another one called lecturers, and then inside students, Name there is Samuel Adeshola, and then I have another name that I saw inside the code ATB gave me, John G. John, whatever G is, John G. So I just have these two things. Don't forget it's closed now. And I should have done this thing before. Inside lecturer, I have Dr. Yeah, and I have Dr. I have these two things inside lecturer. This thing can be a code. It doesn't. It's not necessarily is if a text file. It can be code. It can be anything. It can even be Word document. So that's what I have inside inside my ATBU working directory. So I want to start working today. Let's say my first task is a new student came, and I think this will be the only demo we do today. A new student came, and then I'm to add his name to the student's name. So I just come here and put okay, open. My first task as an employee is to add a student name. I'll just put what's the person's name? Gloria. So that's the person's name I'm to add as an employee in ATBU. Save, and I've saved it. Then okay, someone else might not know, but then this, if I put 30 here, this thing is wrong. This thing is wrong. But then it's because I'm just a newbie, I'm just an IT student. I don't write bad name for somebody. So I've made a mistake. So that's the point. I've made a mistake. Close. So I'll now come and say, okay, I've worked today. There are other things we can do, but then this is just a very brief overview. I've worked today. One thing you can check, let's say people have been working on this same folder before. Though this is the beginning, but then once we go into this demo more, you're going to see what this means. I can check, one command is git log, no, git status. This will show me what is the status of my code, what is the status of my folder. If I run this, it says on branch master, that's the master branch. Now, what does master means? This thing is very broad. Might not be able to even cover it in 2 classes. Master is that central repository I was talking about the other time, where the central stuff is saved. That's the central repository. On branch master, I think we should even start from this thing from the scratch. Yeah. So on branch master, it says no commit yet. We talk about what commit is later on. It says untracked file, lecturers.txt and student.txt. What untracked files says mean is that I am Git. I don't actually know I'm not tracking this file. On track file, I don't know what is wrong with this file, what is happening to this file. Like, it's like going to a bank. Now, this is the story I wanted to say the other time. It's like you want to save your money in the bank, or you have a file you want to save in the bank. Just the front cover of your IT report you want to save in the bank. You are inside the bank already. Though you are inside the bank because it means that you want to use the bank service now. Though Git, you are inside Git already, but then you have not handed that particular file to Git. So that's what this untracked file means, that okay, you have your money with you, but then you have not given it to the cashier. So that's untracked file. So the first thing you have to do is, okay, Git, take this file for me. How do we do that? We use git add. Git add. I think time is running. You're supposed to have done git add. That we just do this last demo and then we continue. So git add is like, okay, I'm now inside the bank. I want the bank to take my money and then they'll be able to track it for me. Whatever I spend, they should send me the information, fair alert or something. So the first thing you have to do is like hand over your file to Git. So you can say, okay, I want to hand over lecturers.git. Oh, sorry, .txt to Git. This. Also, I want to add Git add students.txt. Okay, so I've now saved. I've given these 2 files to the cashier, lecturers and students. So if I type git status again, like what's the status of my money? as I'm in the bank now, it says what? On branch master, changes to be committed. So those files that were in red before, they are now in green. Meaning that, okay, the cashier has collected the money from you, but then the cashier has not actually enter your details. So they are in red. I mean, they are in green now. That's okay, changes to be committed. You have these guys. So now we can now commit, and then you can. I've just do some kind of commit now, but then I don't want you to take note. Okay, just take note. After a lot of demonstration. So what this guys means is that, okay, I'm now in the bank and the cashier has collected my money, but then he has not saved it. So what I need to do first is like, okay, the cashier should save my money. Like, you should just enter the details on the laptop and then my money will be saved. So I have to now type git commit. Where are we coming from? Git add and then git what? Git commit. Git add, git commit, git add, git commit. I don't know if you have seen this popular joke. They say in case of fire, git add, git commit. In case if you're working in a particular company now, fire wants to happen and then you're writing on the code and fire might burn the laptop, just put git add git commit so that the code will be saved in the remote. Even if your laptop burn, everything has been saved already. Git commit, I'll just put git commit and then to come here. Now I put git commit and then it opens something for me. You see, yeah, it says git GNU Nano 7.2. So this was what we did the other time when we said use Nano as default editor. If you didn't do this thing, you did not show this particular guy. So in this case, now we are in what happened? Okay. So it's like we want to type narration now. It's not asking us, why do you want to save this money? No, get it's not money now, but in file. It's why do you want to save this money? Like, why do you want to save this file? You have to put a message there. That's okay. Done added new student Gloria. So that was what I did. So it's asking what do you want, what did you do, and why do you want to save this in the bank? And I say I added new student Gloria. So once you are done, you can't use Control S or anything. For you to save, you have to use Control X, like XYZ. Control X to save it. Control X. Do you want to save? You have to put Y as yes. Once you press Y as yes, you can enter. So it's telling you that, okay, I've already collected your money now. So we are done. Git add, git commit, we are done. So I can now say, okay, git status again. There's nothing to commit, means that you don't have any new money to commit. You have already committed all the money you have with you in the bank. So everything you did, every new thing you did has been submitted. So another command that I can use is git log. If I put git log now, it says, okay, what has happened? It's like asking for your bank statement. That's git log. What's the first thing? It said author Samuel Adeshola. This is the email. Date Saturday, December 2. By this time, plus 01 GMT. Samuel did this thing. He added new student Gloria, and then this is the name of what Samuel did. This is like the account ID. You see, yes, transaction ID, yes. This particular thing is the transaction ID, what Samuel did. The name is Samuel Adeshola. This is email. On this particular day, he did this particular thing. He added new student Gloria. So you now see that everything you do now is being tracked. What if I do anything, will be tracked? If somebody is working somewhere, I'm going to see everything. This is just the first time. That's why we are seeing only two things. The more everything I do will be what will be here. So my boss now sees, let me just do this quick neighbor and then we round up for today. My boss now sees something. I say, oh, let's say my boss is now checking. I say, oh, someone you actually did a mistake in this particular thing. Yeah, like you did a mistake in this Oma stuff, and I have to go and check. I have to go and change it. So I now come back. I've opened the file. Oh, my boss said I made a mistake. I can now clean this thing, and then I'll now save it. I've cleaned it and then I've saved it. So coming back, you have to be using Git. So it's very important. I've made that mistake that what my boss said I should make. If I type Git status here again, it says what? It says I've modified this thing. So Git knows that I've modified it. Right? Git knows that I've modified this file. So next thing, once I'm done working, since I've already did what my Oga said I should do, I can now do the same thing, git add, git commit. Again, git add. But in this case, I don't need to put, if you want to save everything, you don't need to actually put type them one by one, like what I did before. You can just put git add dot. Git add dot will add everything. Git add dot. Again, git status. You see, it's now what? It's now green. Then again, git commit. You say, okay, what did you do again? You have to be doing all this thing. Okay, change. Sorry, please, I'm taking much time. This is the last thing I do. Change name. I think I corrected name of student. So this is also what I did again. Control X to save, Y to confirm it, and enter. So I've done another thing. So I can type git status. It says there's nothing for me to do. I've already submitted. If I type git log now, two things. This is the first thing I did. This commit. That's it. The latest one will be at the top. You say I did this one first. Commit, added new student Gloria, and then on this date, I did what? I corrected new student. This thing can be as long as possible. If you're working on I was working on LibreOffice, you have to even give you guideline. It has to be this particular number long and likes. So now this is what we did, and Git is tracking everything. So now the final demo, as I mentioned, let's say my boss now came, and then in one way or the other, I think I've made a mistake in this illustration. In one way or the other, it was my boss that actually made a mistake. No, you can think about this in a large scale. The OOO is actually correct. Let's say the O is actually correct for Ioma. It was my boss that actually thought that it is single O. So now say, oh, Samuel, what you did the other time is actually correct. It is Uoma, not actually Oma. Hoping that, wow, and then I've already corrected the name. In this case, since it's just like a single thing, you can just go there easily and then correct it. But what if it's 10 million things you did? You can't still go there and then do control undo. So what I need to do is that I have to go back to the bank and say, okay, give me the money I gave you yesterday. You get that? Give me the money I gave you yesterday, so that they can just give me what I gave them yesterday. You can now refer, you can now like go back to what we did yesterday. So I can put git revert. So I have to go back. Don't forget, this was the first thing I did. This was when I added the Gloria. This was the correct thing. And this is the new thing I did that is wrong. That's the Oma is the wrong one. So I want to go back to this particular thing. So Git just need my commit ID. That's like this ID. Though it is very long, but I need a minimum of 5 characters there. Though it is very long, I don't need to copy. Though I can copy everything, but I don't need to copy everything. I just need at least 5 characters. So I can say git revert. Is it even revert they use now or checkout? Git revert cc. Is it revert? Checkout. No, it's checkout. Yeah. Git checkout. Git checkout cc 5d5. You need minimum of 5. It can be as long as possible. Git checkout cc 5d5. You can copy everything, but then just minimum of 5. 5d5ce. If I run this, am I correct? Okay, yes. So it says switching to cc. I have this command, switching to cc 5d5. You are in this detached edge state. You can look around, make experimental kinikon, that's all. So I can now go back. Let me now open students now. Let's see what's happening. You see, I'm back to where I'm coming from. Oma. I'm now back to, I was not the one that made this change. It automatically comes back to what I submitted yesterday, Oma itself, without having to do anything. So you can revert back to the previous edition. If the new thing you did is not correct, you can revert back. You can go back forward. I can even go forward now, go backward, go forward, go to the, maybe I made that one update last year or last 2 years, and I want to go back to that thing. I can just put git checkout and check out that particular ID. Though it is very long, but then I told you just need minimum of 5. I just type 5. Yeah, I just type 6. I need to go back to that particular part. So that's the basics, like very basics of what you can do with Git. There are other things you are going to be doing. You are going to be looking at branching, because most time you are not working on the master. You have to come and create your own copy and start working on your own copy. Another person will come and create a copy of the original. Everybody is working on the copy of the original. Yeah, I'm working on the original directly, but in most cases, you will not work on the original unless you are the master or unless you are that Oga. You have to work on a copy of the original project, so that if you make a change, it will not spoil the original project. So that's basically it for today. I told you, I don't want to take much time, but then there's still a lot. We see fixed class subsequently. So I think we have come to the end. I don't know if there's any question. And I also like some people to put more, like talk more about this since they have been working on this and then they have seen real life application of it. So, and if you have any question, you can just maybe use the chat but I would like you to unmute yourself and talk about it. Though we have done, if you want to leave now, you can leave. We are officially done. If you're going to any class, we talk about that. But if you want to ask a question, you can just put forward your question. While we are thinking about your question, I know I have two of our engineers here that we also talk about what we have. So Makama, please can you unmute yourself and then talk about maybe just an high level overview of what Git is. Oh wait, you guys are not hearing me all this time. Eh?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, okay. So that's basically Git. Hello, yeah.
No, just finish saying what you want to say.
Okay, yes. We are. The floor is open now, Mr. Makama.
All right, so as you all hear from our speaker here, Samuel, he has talked about the overview, not just the overview, but together with the practical aspect of the Git. I know most of you here know how powerful now Git can be, like how powerful.
Is it only for me because it seems the thing disappear? So everybody, if you want to talk, you have to use your mic in class, normal class. You know, write note. This not. I told you this is not like a normal all this tech event something. It's just like a normal
Yeah, he
class.
cut off. I think he cut off.
Okay. I think Mr. Mohammed Ibrahim wants to ask something. Mr. Mohammed.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
I want to talk of how to solve the issue of this merge conflict.
Okay. So he's taking us, he's putting us on serious now. The issue of merge conflict. One thing, just as I mentioned before, let's take a simple scenario. Gloria, Ahmed, and Musami are working on a project, and Kwanda are working on a project, and those projects are connected. And let's say somebody, Joshua. Let's say Joshua is the like the central man that used to control everything. So once they all submit their code to him, he's going to look at it and make sure they all merge together. Maybe it's going to make sure that what Gloria did will not affect what Musami did, and that will not affect what Ahmed did. If it can physically look at it like that, and then if there's any change, you make the change. So the same thing with Git. If you want to merge things together, Git will look at it, and if something will not work with the other one, there will be a merge conflict, and then you can resolve the merge conflict on your editor. There are a lot of options there are a lot of ways you can resolve merge conflict. There even be suggestion, all this rebase, revert. There are all options for you to on how to solve merge conflict. If let's say for example somebody edited line 6, another person too edited line 6, you just choose, okay, which one do you want to keep? Git will ask you which one do you want to keep, which one do you want to discard. Meaning that Gloria wrote something on line 6, Musami wrote something on line 6, Kwanda wrote something on line 6. There's no way they can merge those things because they are on the same line. So Git will now ask you which one do you want to keep, which one do you want to discard. So you now choose, okay, I want to choose Musami's own and discard those other two. Or I want to arrange them in one certain order. So that's one way of solving merge conflict. But then there are other ways and other things you can do based on the conflict that you are seeing. You can rebase, you can force push, you call something force push, you can fast forward. That's what they call fast forward. If there's time, you can still look at all those things. But then there are a lot of ways you can resolve merge conflict based on the conflict itself. Where is the conflict coming from? Because we all did the same thing and it's affecting each other. They can't join together. So you have to find a way to resolve that conflict. And that's just one way I've mentioned. If your code will counter with my code, I can choose to just delete your own code and then keep my own code. So that's one way of resolving merge conflicts.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah. The other things that can happen, it depends on what happened that we know, okay, this is how you resolve it. But then let's see, maybe second class, in our second class, we'll not talk about this because we talk about GitHub in our second class. But
Okay.
I'm sure probably one day we start talk about all this merge, all these advanced Git commands. So Mr. Makamaya.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost my connection.
Okay, go ahead, problem.
All right. So, as you all hear from our speaker, Samuel, he has talked about the overview and some practical aspect. Though Git is very wide, so it's true that we can't cover in just a 1 hour class or a 15-minute class. So we need to find some time and fix another class to cover it all. Though you can see, even the overview is not that we have covered all of it, but let's forget about the overview because we have more interest in the practical aspect, right? So what I was saying is that I know for beginners here in this, I know some of you like might have used Git or might currently be using Git now, but it's true that Git really helps in large projects because now, for example, let's say we have a big company and that company have so many, what do you call it, sub companies there in different countries, but it's all under like now Microsoft. For example, now just a Microsoft, let's say it's in UK, and we have they have a sub company here, maybe in Nigeria, South Africa and stuff, and they want to work on a single project, okay, and they want some people with a specialization that are all from that sub company region. So what they do is that they have to use that Git, okay, to make that Git, because that Git will be accessing a single server so that all the users will be accessing that server and getting access to that project and making contributions. Making contributions is just the what do you call it, the update and stuff. Just like example now, example as ATV. Let's say it's the master branch is the ATV, and he added a name of a student, right? That adding a name is making a contribution. Okay. So that's it. It's very wide and it brings solutions to challenges like, what is it? Sorry, excuse me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Makama. I don't know if is there any other question before we round off. Don't go, please don't leave. I have two things to share before we close the whole thing. But then, is there any other question? Let me just address the question before we leave. If you have question, maybe you unmute yourself or use the chat. I'm assuming there's no question. Yeah, there's no question. So, how can you proceed in learning Git? Because whatever you're going to do in this class might not cover everything. So, how can you proceed? One of the resources I found that is very interesting is Coursera. Yeah, Coursera. Coursera is just a platform, like a learning platform. It's very good. We are talking about another thing now. You can learn other things on Coursera. You can learn a lot of things on Coursera. And there's a class on Coursera that talks about Git that I really enjoy. It's offered by Google. So let's go to Coursera. Please, see, I was mentioning this thing. When it comes to tech, it's dependent on us. It's not about, even if they are going to give you 10 weeks, like 50 weeks boot camps, if you're not deliberate about it, you're not really learn anything. And one thing about tech is that most times everybody is like self-taught, whether you like it or not. In a normal tech class, you don't need more than four trainings. Once somebody can sit you down for 4 times and teach you something, if you don't know that thing, it's up to you, not to your teacher again. When it comes to tech, at least even a single meeting, you are good. When I started learning tech, I think we only taught for 3 days. I've sat in a tech class, like this is me telling you about myself now. I've sat down in an official training tech class. It was just for 3 days. 2017. Since then, I've never been in any tech class again. Like physical tech class, somebody teaching me physically. I've never been there again. I was just under an official tech training for 3 days. And since then, I've never been in any tech training again. Maybe I can go to events but somebody teaching me, it was just since 20, what year was that? I've never been under any training again. So it's now up to you. There's a lot of resources for you to go and learn online. So you can just learn online. And one place I find really, really interesting is Coursera. Just go to Coursera. I won't be talking about, just log into Coursera, sign up and stuff. So you can search for Git. Now, it shows this course. It's basically, I'm talking about this course now. Introduction to Git and GitHub. It's offered by Google. Just click on the course. No mistake is that I've already signed up for this thing. I want to show you something. So it's in introduction to Git and GitHub. You can also, some of the courses are paid, but then you can enroll there for free. You can watch all the courses for free. They call it audit. Okay, don't forget this is the course you want to take. Right, this is the course you should search for Git and GitHub. But then because I've already enrolled in this one, I won't be able to do that demo. Let me just search for another course so that I'll do what I want to do. Git. Okay, let me just search for this course, Git for developers using GitHub. Let's say I'm clicking on this Git for. Oh, this one is not a course, it's a project. Oh God, I don't have patience to be searching for this things. Okay, let's say this course now. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for web developers. I've clicked on it. This is what I want to learn, just like that other course now. So it says enroll for free. Right, please take notes. I'm just talking to you about how to navigate Coursera now, because Coursera is very useful. Another thing that once you are done, it's not like YouTube. On YouTube, anybody can just go on YouTube and start teaching a course. But in this case, everything is being taken by the university. It's a university taking that particular course. Different university in the world are the one teaching there. And once you are done, they give you a certificate that will carry the university's name. It's very interesting, right? Yeah, the certificate that we give you will carry the university's name. Once you are done watching a course on YouTube, you're not getting certificates. But once you are done here, the certificate will carry that university's name. You see, it's like you went to that university virtually. Yeah. So that's why it's not free. But then they have scholarship for almost all courses. And all the time I've been applying for the scholarship, there's no time that I've not gotten it. It's very easy, and it's like you almost get it. I will tell you what I used to do. So you see, this one has been taken by what? This John Hopkins University. Is it enrolled for free? And yeah, if you check something here, it says, what's happening? We can still see my screen, right? Can we still see my screen?
Yeah, we can see it. We can see it.
Yeah. Is there something here that financial aid available? It says enroll for free and then financial aid available. Most of the courses have this thing, financial aid available. The courses are not free, naturally. Don't forget they are not free. The price is not even here. So you can just click enroll for free. Let's see what will happen. Now, it says purchase this course. How much? $79. You want to purchase it. Me, I don't have $79. So you can click on audit this course. You say, what is audit? You will have access to all the course material except graded items. You have access to the course, but then you don't have the certificate. If you don't really care, you can just audit this course because you just want to learn. You can just audit this course. You don't have access to the assignments, to the they will not be giving you assignments, but you can audit it. You see everything, all the video, everything, all the lecture, you see it. So you can click on continue to audit the course. Once you have done that, it will like sign you up for that course. But this is not where I'm going. I want you to get the certificates and get all the assignments. I'll just close this. It says financial aid available. Just click on this thing, financial aid available. Okay, you said application can take up to 16 days to be reviewed. So if you apply for it, it takes 16 days. Once they approve it, it's as if you paid for the course, like scholarship. You have access to everything, and then once you are done, you can get the certificate. I'll just click go to continue to application. Once you click here, it asks you to give, and it's not difficult. Some of us are listening in some things. It's just asks you to write a 150-word essay. This thing, it comes automatically because I was writing something before. Just forget about it. You have to write a 150-word essay, just a single essay on why they say what do you have to write on? Reason you applied for aid. You say, okay, education, clinical, annual income. I put $10 per year. Employment status, I say I'm a student. So what I used to do here is that I do not come and be saying all the stories of Nigeria. Clinical, Nigeria, the conversion to dollar is much now. If you convert $79 to naira, it's like 79,000, which is very much in Nigeria. And I'm a student, I can't apply for all those things. They approve it for you. That's the story I used to tell all the time. You see, I know payment, read this one, I know payment is quite less. That cost, I might not be able to get resources to renew monthly. I need to street government regulation right now in Nigeria. There's monthly dollar limit on any international transaction. This implies that I won't be able to pay for the full cost at once. Most importantly, I'll be doing this presentation along with normal coursework. You just see your story in 150 word and then you apply. Once you applied, they will get back to you in 16 days. Once they get back to you, most times you get the application. Most times they will give you. Once they give you, it's like you applied, it's like you paid for it. You have access to everything. So, and that's one way you can do that particular course on Git for GitHub. You can also check some other courses. So don't wait. So this bootcamp is not for us to teach you everything. You can't even teach you everything, but then try to take advantage of all these things and learn from other sources. Attach it to your normal academics. These things are most of them are self-paced. You can be doing your normal ATBU wala and still be still be learning them. Even if it's just like once a week or 2 times, or let's say 2 hours in a week, you're still going to get something at the end of the semester. It takes a lot of years. Like it's not just what happens in the twinkle of an eye. It takes time. So that's Coursera. You can also check other things like Udacity, Udemy. That one is even out of it because most of them are paid. So that is one thing. I think I'm going to talk about open source today. I want to talk about open source, but then the open source is more advanced topic. You might not even start contributing now. So that's basically what I want to talk about concerning Coursera. So please take advantage of Coursera and then you can start learning. So I don't know if there's any question on Coursera. Please, can you hear me? Okay. Somebody say it has not been hearing. Okay. Makama wants to say something before we close.
Okay, sorry, please. It's regarding this Coursera, please.
Okay.
Just because you get free courses doesn't mean please you should agree. Because there's no point in registering too many courses that you can't handle, or registering a course that you know that you don't have interest in it. Just before registering a course, please make sure that you are ready to do that course and you really want to do that course and you know you can finish that course. Because once writing the financial aid, there will be an oath. You will need to tick a place that saying you have agreed to fulfill that course. It's like an oath. Okay, you have to make sure you fulfill that oath. You just can't register for a course and do a halfway of it and just leave it. So that's my point, please. Thank you.
Yeah. If you are doing that, they will not give you the 8 again. Even if you say your story, your Nigerian story, they will not give you again.
Yeah, definitely. Even me, self, I take some courses, but I will not be able to complete them. Maybe due to ATV harder. Thank you.
So just look at what ATB and then you can just maybe just once in a week, you can just start doing. So that's basically it. You have come to the end of this session on Git. Don't forget, our class will continue next week physically. And thank God we have been able to secure some good venues. Some of us having issue with venue. But next week, we are trusting there won't be issue with venue again. We have some good places in school now that they've given us. So that's basically
Yeah,
it. We can, yeah, Mr. Mohammed, you want to say something?
okay. Yeah, secondly, let us be having like physical classes now.
Yes.
If it is possible.
This is just an online class that happened. This is the first time we're having an online class. All our class has been physical every Saturday for the past 3 weeks.
Okay, thank you.
This is the first time we're having physical class. Because of their first today,
Hello.
every class has been physical in ATB.
Hello.
Hello,
Mr.
yes.
Samuel.
Yes, Dr. Kabir, I can hear you.
Yes. I hope that when we meet in the physical class, you will explain further about this Git and GitHub for us.
And most of our classes will not be covering Git. It will just be. Have you been attending the classes, Mr. Kabir?
Yes.
Most of the classes will just be focused on the particular technology that you enrolled for. You get
Yes.
because
Yes.
there might not be time for you to learn Git in a web class. So the online will just be to learning some extra things, and then when you go back to normal class, they will teach us the normal thing that we enrolled for.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
well,
this
just because of time. Yeah.
Okay, I understand. So thank you.
Right, and we can start leaving now. I'll just make everybody leave by force. I'm stopping recording as a disclaimer. This recording will be available. I'll share the link to us on WhatsApp.